Mike, check. Justin Hunt. It's all happening. Thank you to everybody rocking with the channel. Thank you to everybody subscribed to the channel. Thank you to everybody who shared the video, shared a link, shared what we doing over here is priceless. Big thank you to everybody who's donated. Big thank you to everyone who's donated. If you'd like to donate, you can hit the Cash App that's right up there. Or you can hit the link in the description. There's a link to a link tree. All donations are greatly appreciated. And big thank you to my newest member, Mr. or Mrs., I can't really tell, but it says Leopold Bloom. I guess that's a Mr. 9-second applause to you, sir. Thank you. I didn't plan to record today, but this is a big story. This is a big story right now. Jay-Z has been accused of graping a 13-year-old girl in 2000, along with Sean Diddy Combs. This was a civil suit that was filed by the Busby Law Firm. The Busby Law Firm has 120 clients who have filed individual civil lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs, and now Jay-Z has been implicated. NBC News broke the story this evening. Here's what they said. Jay-Z, the star rapper and entrepreneur whose real name is Sean Carter, was accused in a lawsuit Sunday of graping a 13-year-old girl in 2000, allegedly along with Sean Diddy Combs. The anonymous accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, said the assault happened after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards afterparty. The federal lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Combs as a defendant. It was refiled Sunday to include Carter. So this was filed in New York. The Busby Law Firm is famously in Houston, Texas. And so again, as I stated, this was refiled. So Jay-Z was added to this lawsuit. All right, the article continues. The lawsuit claims that in 2000, when Doe was 13, Combs and Carter raped her at a house party after the MTV Video Music Awards in New York. The lawsuit says a friend dropped her off at the VMAs at Radio City Music Hall. She did not have a ticket, and she approached various limousine drivers to try to gain access to the show or an after party. All right. So Jane Doe is 13 in 2000. Her friend dropped her off at the VMAs. She didn't have a ticket, and she therefore decided to approach various limousine drivers to try to gain access to the show or an after party. That is bold. That is bold. One driver, the lawsuit says, told her that he worked for Combs and that she fit what Diddy was looking for. He invited her to a party after the show and told her to return to his car later in the evening, and he transported Carter and Combs, the suit says. All right, so Jane Doe was 13, didn't have a ticket, starts talking to a bunch of limousine drivers. She meets one that says, she's the type of girl that Diddy's looking for. He told her to come back to his limo after he transported Carter and Combs. Just keep following along here. Later, the driver picked her up, the suit says, and after 20 minutes, they arrived at a White House with a U-shaped driveway, the suit says. She had to sign a document she believed was a non-disclosure agreement on arrival and did not receive a copy. To enter the party, which the suit says was filled with celebrities and people doing marijuana and cocaine. She was offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and felt like she needed to lie down, the suit says, and she went into a room to reset. I mean, you know, that is a common denominator in a lot of these suits. A lot of these suits and allegations allege that Diddy is drugging people. There's assumptions the possibility that the baby oil was laced. So that part is consistent here in this story per the filing. Now, I also remember I remember when I was 13, maybe 14. I think first time I drank something was like 14, maybe 14 or 15. It was Zima. I took 3 sips. I felt woozy, lightheaded, like I needed to lay down. So, you know. Shortly after, the suit says Combs and Carter entered the room with Combs saying, "You are ready to party. You are ready to party." Wow, with exclamation point. That's when she alleges Carter removed her clothes, held her down, and graped her while Combs and an unnamed female celebrity watched. She says Combs also graped her as Carter and the woman looked on. So they were, this is dark. This is dark. The suit says that she was able to resist being forced to perform oral on Combs by hitting him in the neck and that he stopped. After the alleged assault, the suit says she grabbed her clothes and left. She made her way to a gas station where she called her father, it says. The accuser is seeking unspecified damages. The lawsuit is filed under New York's Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act. I mean, this is, I can't necessarily say that I'm shocked. I think a lot of the movements, from Busby have insinuated that other very powerful, high-profile celebrities would be in his crosshairs, that he planned to tie them to the civil suits that he's levying against Diddy. There was a story in November where a high-profile celebrity, John Doe, discussed extortion, felt like he was being extorted. That always seemed like it probably fit Hove, just given Jay-Z's and Diddy's relationship over the past 40 years, almost 30 years probably at least. We'll take a look at that a little bit later. But, this is a very loud, this is a bombshell allegation. And Jay-Z absolutely responded to it. He released a statement this evening. Here it is. It looks like he wrote this on a Google Doc, to be honest. There's no signature. There's no header, footer. It's just white document and words. But here's what he said. My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir. It had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. Thug nigga to the end, tell a friend. 1 second applause for a classic Jay-Z line. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? I mean, that's a good point, and I think it's very cunning that he framed this statement, included this in his statement. He is saying, well, if I really did it, bring the authorities. There's no statute of limitation on rape in New York, so there is an opportunity to do that. But he is making that statement to further support his claims that he's being extorted what do you say right here? Blackmailed by Tony Busby, or blackmail attempt. These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out the project of Brooklyn. I wonder if this projects of Brooklyn minus the S, or is he referring to all of Brooklyn as a project? Why do they call a project? Because it's a project. Experiment, we're in it only as objects. 1 second applause. Another classic Jay-Z line. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes of honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am. Fake physics. What does he mean by that? We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I don't know what that means either. But this is Jay-Z's statement. This came maybe 30 minutes, if not less than, within the hour after this story broke. But Jay-Z is standing 10 toes down, and I think that's probably a good idea. This isn't one of those things that you can pay to go away, because it'll inevitably come back up. Bill Cosby went to prison. He actually settled at some point, and later the case was closed. They opened the case and used it for a later case, which is how he ended up being convicted. But these allegations are heinous, incredibly heinous. And so I think it's good that he's willing to fight this with, all of his energy. It's a civil case again. It's not a criminal case. But that's what Jay-Z's response was. There were two updates to this story. The first update came from Diddy's lawyers. Diddy's lawyers talked to TMZ. They said this amended complaint in the recent extortion lawsuit against Mr. Busby exposes his barrage of lawsuits against Mr. Combs for what they are: shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them, just as lies have been spread about Mr. Combs. As his legal team has done before, Mr. Combs has full confidence in the facts and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor. There was one other update that came from Tony Busby. Tony Busby, who filed the suit on behalf of Jane Doe, tells TMZ, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He even filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim. That victim never demanded a penny from him. So he's saying, can't say I'm blackballing you or extorting you if I didn't ask you for any money. That's how I take that line there. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I'm very proud of her resolve. So these are the facts of the story that we have so far. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of updates in the weeks to come. As far as I can tell now, there hasn't been a court date set. There hasn't been a hearing set yet. But again, this feels in line with what Tony Busby said during his press conference this summer. I watched it over on Absa's channel, and he said there was 120 alleged victims. I think it was 60 men, 60 women. One of the things I thought was really interesting about what Busby said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he said that, if I'm not mistaken, 60% of the people, the alleged victims, he said actually reported either to the police or to hospital medical authorities. So, I think a lot of the questions that come with these things is, in this case, for example, the 13-year-old the 13-year-old Jane Doe says she ran out the house, ran down the street to a gas station where she called her father. It doesn't mention what her father did after that. We don't know if her father pulled up. We don't know if her father got paid off. We don't know if she got paid off. We don't know if he took her to a hospital. We don't know anything other than that. None of that was reported in the filings. So there is a gray area there. But a lot of times when I see stories like this, the reflex is to say, well, why didn't you tell nobody nothing? Well, according to Busby, he says a number of his victims actually did that. And so, I think we should be open-minded to see where that part goes, because it doesn't seem like they've told the full story in their allegations. At least, if they did tell the full story in their allegations, I don't know. But we've been watching battle. This has been a year of battle, or Cat Williams framed it as the year of truth. And this might be the biggest battle yet, because we already have Diddy in custody. And now we have Jay-Z, who's being implicated alongside him in a civil case. But these are titans in the space. And, what does that do for Jay-Z's, prison reform project? What does it do for his position with the NFL? What's it do for his own businesses, his reputation, his brand? What's it do to Beyonce? So, because this is more than just assault. Like, this is allegedly a 13-year-old girl, so this is something I believe he has to fight for. Now, there's a lot of conversations around this. I think if you take a look on Twitter, you're seeing the obvious things. You see a lot of references to Beyonce and how Beyonce might have been when they first started dating and they got together. You're seeing a lot of people reference Aaliyah and how old she might have been when Jay-Z and her were involved. You see a lot of people mentioning, well, hey, if Diddy did it, then it's hard for me to believe that Jay-Z didn't do it. That's where the conversation is right now. And, there's a lot of people also talking about Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright. We covered a story this fall on Jaguar Wright. And she was on Piers Morgan talking about Diddy and also Jay-Z, and made a bunch of wild allegations on that show. The episode after that, Piers Morgan, he showed up the next day and said, hey, y'all, our bad. We ain't mean to have Jaguar on. You know what I'm saying? We can't corroborate none of that. I think clearly Jay-Z's attorneys reached out to Piers Morgan once he platformed Jaguar Wright. And so he retracted that entire conversation, but the whole world saw it. It's still on YouTube. But Jaguar Wright, I think we're probably going to hear a lot from her this week. If she's not talking now online somewhere, she will be this week. She's been one of the most resolute voices making accusations against Diddy and Jay-Z. And so I also look out for that conversation coming this week, because I'm sure that's happening. Now, Tony Busby, one thing I mentioned earlier is that, there was a story about Tony Busby alleging that a powerful John Doe filed a suit against him. Here's what he said before. I'll read a piece of this. This is from 3 weeks ago. I've been sued in Los Angeles in a last-ditch attempt to stop me from revealing names in public lawsuits. It won't work. The irony, the suit against me was filed by a powerful John Doe. Here's my full statement. We won't allow the powerful and high-dollar lawyers to intimidate or silence sexual assault of survivors. It has been reported that a lawsuit has been filed against my firm for claiming extortion. The lawyers that filed it also immediately called TMZ in an apparent effort to silence those who allege sexual assault. Here's the deal. The case filed against my firm is not only without merit, it's laughable. Here's why. On behalf of 2 clients who allege sexual assault, we sent a standard demand letter to New York lawyer that we know represents an alleged perpetrator and potential defendant. The letters were sent seeking a confidential mediation in lieu of filing a lawsuit. No amount of money was included in the demand letters. No threats were made. The demand letters sent are no different than the ones routinely sent by lawyers across the country in all types of cases. It is obvious that the frivolous lawsuit filed against my firm is an aggressive attempt to intimidate or silence me and ultimately my clients. That effort is a gross miscalculation. I am a U.S. Marine. I won't be silenced or intimidated, neither will my clients. Since our professional efforts at resolution obviously have failed, we will instead disclose the demand letters we sent at the time we filed suit. Abuse of the legal system unfortunately runs rampant. The lawsuit filed against my firm is a prime example of that. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I have confidence that with the full public disclosure, all of this will sort itself out. But you see here, he says he's a U.S. Marine. Right now, we go back to Jay-Z's statement. That's what he says here. He says, you claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. Right? I think that this is, I would assume that now, looking back at this statement from Busby, that he was talking about Jay-Z. Jay-Z's letter, even the speed in which this letter was released, he could have wrote this he could have had this letter in the cut like it was Meet the Grams, to be honest. You know, I mean, it came out really fast. I mean, it also fits this statement from Busby in November directly. So now Busby also mentioned that he was sued in that. And so here's a News Nation article from November. It says, attorney suing Diddy accused of assault by former client. Attorney Tony Busby represents more than 120 alleged Diddy victims. Former client sued Busby, saying he attacked her in a fit of rage. Busby denies allegations. I'll read through some of this quickly, but here's what it says. An attorney representing more than 100 people alleging sexual misconduct by Sean Diddy Combs is being sued for assault by a former client. The plaintiff, named as Jane Doe, filed a lawsuit against Houston-based attorney Tony Busby, saying he assaulted her while he represented her during her divorce. TMZ reported. She alleges Busby pushed a champagne flute into her face in a fit of rage and hit her, and the hit caused her to chip a tooth. The outlet reported. The woman claimed to have medical and dental records as proof. The woman also alleges Busby committed malpractice by fumbling her divorce case, which ended up costing her millions of dollars. Tony Busby is a hypocrite. There is nothing worse than when a black hat masquerades as a white hat, Jeremy Barner, a lawyer for the plaintiff, told the outlet. What we know about the Diddy investigation. Busby called the lawsuit against him crazy fiction in a statement to TMZ. We won't be bullied or silenced by frivolous cases being filed against me or against my clients. All of this is false, and I won't tolerate defamation. The lawsuit comes as the second one filed against the attorney in 1 week. Busby was sued for extortion and intentional infliction of emotional distress by a plaintiff referred to in the lawsuit as a high-profile individual and identified as John Doe. Through his lawyers, the Los Angeles Times reported. I mean, this feels like it's probably Jay-Z. This feels like, this is, when I say I'm not necessarily surprised about this today, I feel like we've been seeing enough stories in the news over the past few weeks and enough conversation around this that has now been confirmed since Jay-Z said that, dropped his statement that this suit was filed with his name on it. Calling Busby's actions textbook extortion. The lawsuit accuses the attorney of writing letters that made wildly false, horrific allegations that Doe raped minors at one of Combs' parties and that there would be consequences unless he agreed to a mediated settlement. This sounds like the same story. Busby, the lawsuit alleges, said he would unleash entirely fabricated and malicious allegations of sexual assault as a threat, according to the Los Angeles Times. Busby has established a pattern of leveling baseless, fabricated, and malicious allegations at high-profile individuals and threatening to name them publicly if they fail to pay exorbitant sums of money, which is represent law firm Quinn Emanuel, which is representing the celebrity who sued, said in the statement. Busby denied the allegations, calling it a coordinated attack by a rival law firm in a statement to News Nation. Here's what I know. I've been sued twice now so far, and it's being coordinated by a law firm from New York who reps a celebrity who I sent a demand letter to. The coordinated cases filed against me are frivolous and are an attempt to scare my clients. I also intend to expose the law firm and that firm's clients who is behind this effort. I won't let my clients be silenced by the bullying tactics. I'm surprised you would be a pawn in this scheme by even giving this effort any play. Busby and Diddy. In October, Busby announced he was representing 120 people who plan on filing lawsuits saying they have experienced sexual misconduct from Combs, including 25 minors. Busby said those suing are 60 men, 60 women, of whom 25 were minors at the time of the alleged misconduct. The youngest, Busby said, was 9. I imagine there's a myriad of people who are nervous, Busby said when he was announcing the lawsuits. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. So that's what Busby said during that press conference. He said he had a number of other celebrities that were in the crosshairs. He said that there's better off just coming forward. This past November, we did see that news story about a high-profile celebrity, John Doe. And I think today is confirmed that high-profile celebrity John Doe is Jay-Z. Jay-Z, in his statement, said that he looks forward to showing you how different he is, and that he looks forward to exposing him for the fraud that he is in a very public fashion, and he will not give anybody one red cent. Busby said that he was sued twice last week. This is getting ugly. It's officially ugly, and it's only going to get uglier. It's only going to get uglier. I can't take what Tony Busby is saying as factual at all. And I see all the conversation around this when it comes to Jay-Z. I think it's easy to, what's the Kendrick line? They say predators move in flocks, right? You know, and these allegations against Diddy, people really believe these things. And I think after seeing that CNN video, it makes it very easy to believe these things. I think if you look at Diddy's behavior over the course, his public-facing behavior over the course of his career, it's very easy for people to believe Diddy would do these things. I don't know if he's done them or not. This is a lot of allegations in here on the civil side. And on the criminal side, I'm still waiting to see what the real crux of that is, because most of that story, per the feds, was the guns that they found and the baby oil, right? So I don't know if that case has come together yet. So all of this is still very up in the air. And, you know, Busby himself has multiple allegations out there, not even just the chipped tooth with the glass from the woman who says he pushed the glass into her face, you know. So this is a big story. There's a lot here. And I look forward to hearing what you all have to say about this. But on a macro level, you know, four quotes are very loud to me right now. Very loud to me. You know, there's when Kendrick said predators move in flocks. I think that is a PR battle that Hov is going to have to fight tooth and nail with this. When Kendrick said, never let nobody put no smut up on your name. That's what this letter from Jay-Z reminds me of. He looks forward to showing the world how different he is, showing Busby how different he is. There's the year of truth from Cat Williams. I think that's what this year has been. It's been a loud year. And probably the most powerful quote to me from Cat Williams: there's God's side and there's the other side. And only time will tell which side any of these defendants fall on. I hope everybody around this is prayed up. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel. Follow @thecompanyman on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.